Hey, what's up, guys? Alright, so the first half of the chapter focuses on the fight between Noelle and Kirsch facing off against Luck. And honestly, this is a fight between the elves and the magic knights that I was looking forward to the most. Just because we know that Kirsch is pretty good at bringing up people's like hidden potential. And I'm kind of hoping he does that with Noelle because she kind of needs a power boost if she's going to survive this fight. Now, speaking of Kirsch, we actually do get the most important information from him in this chapter. And that's the fact that, alright, now that Luck is kind of like turned into an elf, he's emitting this new like evil energy or this new evil mana, and Kier brings up the fact that his new mana that he's emitting is pretty similar to the same mana that Langris was emitting, I guess, during the tournament arc. Which at first when I read it, I was like, alright, you know what, that kind of makes sense. We already kind of figured that Langris was the hidden traitor behind the White Knight's Eye. And the fact that he has that kind of energy means that he could end up possibly becoming an elf himself. Then I started thinking about it for a second, and I was like, wait, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. Because when you think about it, as far as we know, a human can only use an elf's mana when they're being controlled or possessed by an elf. Now, Langris during that arc was clearly not possessed because, you know, we saw the flashback from when him and Finral were kids. So the fact that he was able to use an elf's mana in the human body when his human self was in full control doesn't really make any sense. Now, the only possibility I could come up with for as to why he was able to do this is that maybe if you're a human that's supposed to be reincarnated as an elf, that if you're pushed far enough against the edge, you could potentially tap into that elf mana. But then I remember that Gouche and Luck were all three of them put to the edge at some point in the series, and none of them were able to do it themselves, so I guess that theory doesn't really work that well. Also, since Langris is going to get turned into an elf, there is a possibility that Finral might too, just kind of like how Gouche and his little sister were both turned into elves in the last chapter. I don't know. I mean, we actually don't actually know how this whole reincarnation thing works, if it's in the bloodline or whatnot. So we'll actually have to wait and see what ends up coming out of that. Getting back to the fight though, it's pretty much just one sided. I mean, Luck pretty much has this in the bag. He was already strong before he got turned into an elf, but now his mana and his strength is just like 10 times what it used to be. Because, alright, at one point, Kirsch activates his Cherry Blossom Storm, and Noelle on top of that activates her Nest of the Sea Dragon. And he shoots through both of them with one attack, with one simple attack, like they're fucking paper. And it just knocks them both down to the ground. Now, originally in the beginning of the fight, Luck throws the lightning bolt at Noelle, and it kind of scratches her cheek. And I was thinking at first, alright, maybe the real Luck is kind of fighting back a little bit still, and it's kind of like hints at that. No, he just says, oh, no, I just woke up, I'm a little rusty. Hold up, let me try one more time. And that's when Kirsten goes up, he's like, alright, let me activate my magic to try to protect her, tell her to activate her magic too. Neither one of their magics are able to do anything against them. And they're kind of just left laying there like, holy shit, how are we going to survive this? Just a quick side note, I do want to mention that, when Kirsch was first introduced in the manga, I really did not like the character at all. But the more I saw him, the more he kind of grew on me, and I kind of like his powers, and the fact that he's kind of like a teacher to people who aren't really that adept at using their magic abilities kind of interested in me. Now, the only reason I'm really giving him any of this praise is because I have no doubts in my mind that Kirsch is going to die by the end of this arc. I mean, seriously, Noelle, she got plot armor. She's going to survive this. Kirsch, you're probably going to get sacrificed trying to protect Noelle as she escapes. Sorry, dude, that's just how it's going to play out for you. We check back in with Asta's group, and it seems like not only was Lyre able to get a power boost when he reincarnated fully as an elf, but he was somehow able to heal himself at least somewhat, because he's ready for round 2 at this point. Not that it really means much to Asta or Mary Leona, because they both are kind of just ready to fight him again. Sora, on the other hand, is kind of shitting himself at this point, but he doesn't really do anything for the rest of this chapter. Now, it's kind of interesting. Before they start fighting again, Lyre kind of mentions, alright, since he is a full-on liar, he kind of has the ability to, tell when people are lying. And he talks to Asta for a second. It's like, alright, I know you're being sincere, and I know you truly believe what you just said in the last chapter. But let's be real for a second. The first Magic Emperor, or at least the guy I assume was the first Magic Emperor, Lyre mentioned the fact that he also said the same thing, and yet his people still got destroyed. So he's kind of not believing Asta's bullshit at this point. He says, like, even though as much as I want to believe what you're saying, I can't bring myself to trust you anymore. So that's when he goes on full on attack. Mary Leona, jumps in and saves Asta from the attack by blocking most of it. And then the two of them are just like, alright, we gotta take him down again. We gotta fight him again. And this is when we see that now that Lyre has like a new magic boost, he's actually fully able, well, he's somewhat able to use at least two different types of magic. Before he could only use one magic element at a time. Now he's able to do two. Because we see at the end of the chapter, he's actually using both light speed, light magic, and spatial magic to actually teleport and speed himself up enough to attack them to the point where they can't actually hit. Because right when he's about to actually attack, Mary Leona actually goes at him with a counterattack, and he says that if her attack hits him, he is dead. There's no way he's getting off from that fight. And sure, you could argue that he's not fully healed yet, but at this point, he is a full-on elf, and he got the power boost to go with it. And the fact that even though an elf is supposed to be way stronger than a normal human, that this normal human is able to potentially one-shot him, just goes to show you just how strong Mary Leona is. Now, that's pretty much all that happens in the chapter. He's blitzing them with his attack, and right when Sora's thinking that it couldn't possibly get any worse than it possibly is right now, that's when Rill jumps right through the fucking door. Like, Rill comes crashing in out of nowhere in some giant monstrosity that he obviously painted. Now, we gotta keep in mind that Rill at this point is controlled by an elf, but his personality is pretty much the same as it was beforehand, at least it seems like it was. So it has me questioning whether or not he's fully controlled or if he actually is, in somewhat control of himself. We'll have to wait to see. I'm hoping. I kind of have the theory that, since his personality is the same, maybe the elf didn't really change him. And even though he does recognize Lyra at the end of the chapter, maybe he actually is coming to the aid of, Asta and Marileona and Sora, just to, put a spin on things. But most likely it's just going to be him attacking him again. So I can't wait to see what happens next. Still no word on what happened to Mimosa, but I'm hoping she makes it out okay. But alright guys, that's pretty much it for the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. Comment down below with your thoughts and theories, and catch you guys later. Peace.